The Western Visayas economy recovered in 2021 after suffering a deep contraction in 2020. The graph shows from a negative 9.7 growth in calendar year 2020, the regional economic growth as measured by our gross regional domestic product in 2021 rebounded to 5.9%. A closer look at the table, you will see 2019, our GRDP was at 913 billion. It was in a trajectory to reach 1 trillion for the economy of Western Visayas. So that was our trajectory. 2020 and 2021 came. We only had a GRDP of 825, however, we grew 874. And it is hoped that in a couple of years, given this trajectory, we will reach again our 1 trillion mark. In money terms, our economy was valued at 874.1 billion. What comprised this growth? Among the major industries, services accounted for 59% or around 60% of the region's total economy in 2021. And with this industry shared 21.5%, while agriculture, forestry, and fishing shared 19.5%. Both economies in the island of Panay and Negros Occidental mostly are services-based. So with the island of Boracay pulling us up in this type of economy, this is where our strength lies. AFF also is a big share in that economy, and we have seen from previous figures, even during the pandemic, our agriculture sector grew even during the pandemic. So that would show the strength also of our agriculture economy. As of the first quarter of 2022, the region has a 136.9 rice sufficiency ratio on average, and remains to be the third largest rice-producing region in the country. The first two are located in Luzon. The third is here in Western Visayas. Palay production in Western Visayas increased by around 2.7% from the 2.3 to 2.4 metric tons. So imagine, with Halaor Dam going online, by the first quarter of 2024, the number of irrigated palay rice lands will further increase, thus perhaps moving us up to maybe the second largest rice producing region in the country. Among the provinces, Antique produced the highest yield, increased at 14.02%. Also, a higher yield in corn production is recorded at 9.69%. Higher yields can be attributed to greater production subsidies with the assistance provided under the Bayanihan 2 program and the annual Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund seed program. Unfortunately, we were again challenged by the occurrence of Typhoon Odette, Agaton, and Basyam on the last quarter of 2021 and the second quarter of 2022, respectively. Here in the island of Negros, I believe the southern part of the island was badly damaged by the typhoon. For Typhoon Odette alone, investment requirement to address the damages, losses, and needs was estimated at about 18 billion. As of April 12, Typhoon Agaton's initial damage and losses amounted to 270 million. As a consequence, we expect another decline in the value of agriculture due to the major damage of standing crops and infrastructures needed for productivity in the farming and fisheries sector brought about by the two typhoons early this year. In terms of employment, an overall improvement was seen in the region's labor indicators during the second quarter of 2022. Unemployment, or the percentage of the total number of unemployed persons to the total number of persons in the labor force, decreased by 25.12%, while underemployment reduced by 23.87%. So we see a almost steady level from October to July in the year 2022. The number of employed individuals grew by 2.05%, while the labor force participation rate, or the percentage of the total number of persons in the labor force, showed a slight improvement of 1% during the second quarter of 2022. With regards to our poverty incidence in 2021, it was at 19% and is estimated to decrease to 9 to 12% in 2023. Overall, the modest performance was attributed to the increase in economic activities brought about by the resumption of businesses and the easing of movement restrictions within the country and to the region as well. Vaccination also played a role. The full vaccination at 93.65% as of August 31 of individuals in the region also added to the rising confidence of employers and employees in the opening and reopening of establishments. Likewise, the resumption of tourism activities contributed to the positive performance of the sector. So, based on tourism receipts, more than 1 million arrivals from January to June 2022 with an estimated 11.56 billion. The Philippine Statistics Authority Region 6, however, reported that the prices of goods in Western Visayas remain higher than the national average. For 4 consecutive months, the prices of basic goods in Western Visayas has been more expensive than the national average, as the inflation rate jumped to 7.4% in August of 2022. We in NEDA, in coordination with and consultation with different regional line agencies, the LGUs and the private sector, is now preparing the Philippine Development Plan and the Regional Development Plan 2023-2028. So essentially, this document will be used by our President as the guide for his 6-year term. The PDP is expected to be finished by the second week of December this year, and the RDP, accompanying regional document, is expected to finish by February of 2023. Annexed to that RDP is the Regional Development Investment Program, which contains the plans and projects that will be spent to achieve the targets of the Regional Development Plan for the 6-year period term. So it is very important that these planning documents will be available by December this year and for the region by February, so that all agencies, local governments will be aligned to the 8-point socio-economic agenda of the Marcos administration to get us through the 6-year period. The PDP and the RDP shall focus in bringing back the country and the region on the high growth path, and more importantly, begin economic transformation for a prosperous, inclusive, and resilient society. This transformation or the plans we will be formulating is in line also with the Sustainable Development Goals and is critical for achieving the country's long-term vision or ambition natin 2040 for providing a matatag, maginhawa, at panatag na buhay para sa lahat. This regional development plan will also consider the crucial role of innovation in order for the country to sustain its economic growth towards the new stages of development as well as climate change adaptation and mitigation. It is an uphill battle given the headwinds, both economic, both domestic and globally. But with our combined efforts and mitigating actions, we aim to minimize the damage and reduce the vulnerability of our families, our economy, and the environment. We in the RDC and NEDA 6 confident that the people of Western Visayas, with the support of our newly elected officials, together with the regional line agencies and the private sector, our partners, be able to sustain and even accelerate our growth, further leaving no one behind. Thank you.